is the World International Youth Day. So day set aside to recognize the energy, creativity, and the enormous potential of young people while also confronting the challenges that continue to hold them back. But in Nigeria, there's a particularly important question to ask. What does it really mean to be a young person in Nigeria in 2026? We have one of the largest and fastest growing youth populations in the world, and our young people are entrepreneurs, innovators, creators, professionals, activists, and increasingly becoming voices that demanding a greater stake in the decisions that shape their future. Joining us to discuss the importance of International Youth Day is Mr. Stanley Achonu. Mr. Stanley Achonu is the Senior Director for Nigeria at the Malala Fund, where he leads the delivery of the organization's country strategy, driving advocacy, grant making, and partnerships that strengthen the systems needed to ensure girls, especially, can access and complete 12 years of education at least. Thank you so much, Stanley, for being with us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's talk about International Youth Day. Is there a theme for this year? I was looking at the theme for last year. I don't know if there's a theme for this year. What are we focusing on?
We're focusing on girls, as leaders of tomorrow. Because a lot of times when we celebrate these days, it doesn't narrow down to those who are most impacted by the challenges that young people face, which is young girls, which is why this year Malala Fund is also sort of leading the initiative to say that girls are also extremely important when we talk about the future of young people, especially in Nigeria, where they face some of the most brutal challenges that young people are encountering, especially in the northern part of the country, where access to education, which is the bedrock for leadership, has been limited for girls who are married off early or who fall pregnant at very young age.
When you talked about northern Nigeria, it just reminded me of an interview I had recently with I think the SSA to the president on community engagement for the Northwest. And one of the biggest issues that they keep pointing out is the number of out-of-school children, the number of young, and I'm not just talking about girls. There's an Alamaziri epidemic, so to speak. You can't go in, and we're seeing that ripple effect here in the nation's capital as well. Many of them are moving here for a better life, or a better place to beg, or a place you can make more money from begging or whatever. So when you see those figures from the Malala Fund point of view, how are you going to get kids like that to go back to school?
So again, education is like the biggest opportunity to unlock the pathway to leadership for young people, which is why if we are going to tackle the challenges, the type that you have described, the best place to start with is to catch them young, at least ensuring that every young person in Nigeria receives a minimum of 12 years continuous education. And I'm glad that the federal government is beginning to align policies around education in that direction, and I hope that the National Council on Education in the coming months will approve the new framework that is being laid out for continuous 12 years education.
Are you speaking with states? Because whatever it is you're saying at the federal, if it's not a priority at subnational level, you're talking to yourself.
Of course, we're working largely with state governments, Kano, Kaduna, Bauchi, and the rest of them. And in these states are at the heart of the challenge that we're talking about. So if we're going to create opportunities for young people, it starts with giving them that education. And there is research to back this up. When you invest in early education for children, and there's an Oxford University recent research that has just come out that says that if the governments in Kano and Kaduna invest $114 million over the next 5 years in education for girls and young people over the next 5 years, there is a $2.5 billion return on investment. That's a very large, that's a 21 to 1 return on investment when you put in money in shaping the future. And where is this investment going to come out from? A young person with 12 years of education is most likely to raise a family that will become educated as well. They are most likely going to have better outcome because they understand hygiene, they understand wash and eating healthy and all of those things. They understand what it takes to invest and to grow a economy and to run business. So we're asking the states, and which is why a lot of our work is also primarily at the state level, to do more to shape how we deliver quality of education to young people at this early level, which is why this year's theme is also focused in that area.
I mean, I'm all for catching them young.
Yes.
It's a lovely concept,
yes.
isn't it? But we do have a lot of people who are, they're not as, because when we say catch them young, we're going to the kids, aren't we? We're going to people who are pre-teens. We're trying to focus on getting those ones in school. Now, these ones that have become teenagers and are entering into their 20s now and are on the streets and are fodder for crime and criminality, joining terrorist organizations. Is there anything that can be done to that demographic?
Again, for that demographic who are already away from the years of compulsory 12 years education, creating training opportunities. Sometimes we separate poverty from some of these challenges that you outlined. But at the heart of these challenges, people do not feel that they have stake in the Nigerian economy. So it's easy to convince them to destroy. Someone who owns a house on the street will never go along with any attempt to burn down the street. So these young people have been left with the short end of the stick, if I would describe it that way. And we need to create technical opportunities, training opportunities. We have to deliberately invest in their future. We have to create training centers, skills, jobs training. There are a lot of things we can do to sort of make sure that we give them a stake, a consistent income. And every other country that has gone from the kind of challenges that we face to stabilization have heavily invested in those who feel that they have been left behind. And I think that the opportunities are there for us to use two-pronged. One is to catch them early, but those that we have missed at this early stage, that have gone past the 12 years compulsory education, we need to invest in skills and opportunities that gives them a stake in the Nigerian economy.
My colleague in Lagos has a few questions for you. Go ahead, Ayo.
Thank you so much, Kayla. Mr. Achonu, it's exciting that we are talking about young people. It's usually, forgive me, it's one of my favorite topics, of the world. I'm looking at data just the same way you are. We understand that the world average for young people is 16%. 16% of the population of the world they are youths under 30. But in Nigeria, and I think by extension in Africa, 70% of our population in Africa, in Nigeria to be specific, is under 30. I hear you talking about specific opening of opportunities for ladies, for the female gender. But then, if we would look at it holistically a bit, in your opinion and from what you can see, which probably necessitates some of your interventions as an organization, what are the gaps you see? I mean, looking at Nigeria's 36 states, you are a Nigerian. So what are the gaps you see at whatever level, public sector or private sector, that you think, if we don't give it enough attention, we are creating a recipe for disaster already?
Yes, a very good question. Very young population that remains untapped. On the top level, one of the biggest challenges that we're not maximizing the potential of the young people, and we have seen that where the opportunity has been provided, they have been extremely effective in utilizing that opportunity. They have taken the Nigerian entertainment industry to a global level, be it music, be it fashion, be it entertainment, be it our movie industry. So we have seen that Nigerian youths are capable of delivering on every opportunity given to them, and that's on one side. So we have a large population, and as you described, Africa has the youngest population. 70% of Africans are within the youth range, which gives us opportunity to even do better in manufacturing, large-scale manufacturing that provides opportunity, right? We have seen what young people are already doing in tech, sort of expanding the opportunities in tech would be one way to tackle this challenge. Nigeria has passed the Startup Act. Investing in that section, in that act, would be an opportunity to also give young people opportunity to grow the economy. But there's one section that sort of pose a big challenge, a demographic dilemma for Nigerians, which is the kind of people that we were describing earlier, those who have been left behind, who have lacked quality education, who do not have training opportunities, who especially in the rural areas, which is completely devastated in certain areas. But when I sort of do a deep dive into Nigeria, in the states where we're working, and I'll look at places like Borno, where we see a high level of insurgency, one of the key challenges in those sectors, in that area, is that it's completely bereft of any opportunities. I was in Borno State a few months ago, and one of the things we found is that there are no companies that employ up to 200 people in a state like Borno, a single company that employ up to 200 people. There are no manufacturing opportunities for young people, manufacturing companies that employ young people. So basically what you have in places like Borno is that people are either doing transportation or doing subsistence farming, which is now ravaged by the insecurities in the area. So there is opportunity for us to tackle this challenge at scale, not just only using security as a way to tackle it, but also creating opportunities that says to people, look, the only way to make it is not criminality, but to contribute to productive economy. So the challenges are enormous, but it presents a single opportunity for us to maximize what young people can deliver. We can take advantage of the free trade area to open up our country for more people to produce for export.
Mr. Achonu, you're spot on. There is no doubt about it. But I just want to ask something. You listed quite a number of opportunities, that government has already put out there. The challenge that a number of people have seen is in communicating it. It's one thing to put out the information there for people to grab. It's another thing altogether for the people to understand the opportunities and not to engage with it. If you would take a look at how we communicate as a people, as a government, and all of that. First of all, the entry level into governance for young people, because the founding fathers of Nigeria were between ages 20 and 30 largely. Today, I don't even know if they are getting that opportunity. So you want to first of all help us look at what opportunities you see in young people being able to take their destiny into their hands, so to speak. And then secondly, whatever opportunities are already there now for them, what's your assessment of how communication goes from top down and back?
No doubt, there's always room to improve on government communication and also giving opportunity. And I want to focus a bit on giving opportunity to young people to contribute to sort of governance and policy making and all of that. I fear that we're getting to the point where those who basically make the policies and who govern us are not the immediate beneficiaries of the governance structures that they are putting in place. One critical area and I'll give an example of a recent activities by our partners in Bauchi State, where young girls were part of designing a framework for gender responsive budgeting led by one of our guarantees. What came out of that was a policy that then responds directly to the needs of those young people. And I think that the point I'm making is that we need to create an opportunity where those young people who will live out some of the policy changes that we make are also part of the design and implementation of the policy. We need to create more leadership opportunities. Some of our leaders today started very young, but they are not yielding space for young people. They are not giving opportunities for young people to be part of that process. And I think that when it comes to communicating government policies, younger people helping government to shape communication approach might be a better way to reach a larger number. There are people who are very good with breaking down government policies and sharing them in the format that young people can consume. That might be an opportunity for young people to participate in government, but also help government further some of the messaging and policies that they create to respond to some of the challenges we face.
So let's talk about this year. What's the Malala Fund doing for? Well, I know the focus is on girls this year, isn't it?
Yes.
What does that mean? When they say we're focusing on girls, what does that mean? What do you do? Are you giving money? Are you giving grants? What's happening?
We are principally focused on empowering women-led, young girls, young women-led organization in Nigeria. So a large chunk of our grant making goes to women-led organization, and we have seen success. One of our guarantees, Page the Initiative, is working mostly in northern Nigeria, Kaduna, Kano, to help to train girls at the community to use storytelling as a way of sharing the challenges and the kind of policy initiative that can help them tackle the challenges. And we are seeing really good progress. So they are making really good films, and we hope to sort of showcase some of them at international fora. So we are creating new storytellers and filmmakers of the future.
So that's for the girls out there, storytellers out there. Get your stories together. You know, Malala Fund is reaching out, so get your stories together, be able to communicate what it is that you're doing, and let's see how we can empower as many girls as possible. Thank you so much, Mr. Stanley Achonu, for being with us on the program. Stanley Achonu is the Senior Director, Malala Fund, Nigeria.
Thank you so much for having me.